Over 4,000 years ago, a civilization thrived without palaces, weapons, or kings. We are traveling back to the peaceful Indus Valley, a society whose greatest achievement was not conquest but harmony. By the end of our journey, you will possess a quiet blueprint for tranquility, a mental escape to a world built on order and community. How did they maintain such stability for centuries without the constant threat of war? What deep secret allowed their cities to flourish in near silence, leaving behind a mystery we are still piecing together today? What does true peace actually feel like in a bustling city? The morning light reveals a city planned with incredible precision. These wide, straight streets run in perfect grids, a design so advanced it feels almost modern. There are no chaotic alleyways, no buildings crowding into the public space. Every home, crafted from uniform, baked bricks, has access to this orderly network. This was a community that valued harmony in its very architecture, ensuring that movement through the city was a calm and predictable experience, not a daily struggle. You can almost feel the quiet rhythm of a morning walk, the sun on your shoulders as you move freely down a clean, open road. What does this careful design tell us about the people who built it? It speaks of a shared agreement, a collective decision to prioritize the comfort and well-being of everyone over the power or privilege of a few. This sense of order is not oppressive but liberating. It creates a backdrop of stability where daily life can unfold without the underlying stress of chaos. The gentle flow of people beginning their day, the soft sounds of morning activity, all exist within this framework of serene predictability. Step inside one of these homes and the outside world seems to fall away. The walls, built from those same uniform bricks, are thick and solid, creating a cool refuge from the heat. Sunlight streams into a central courtyard, an open heart for the home where a family can breathe and gather. There is a profound sense of order here. Nothing is frantic or out of place. The floors are clean and swept smooth, a surface for quiet footsteps and calm moments. This is not a space of grand possessions, but of thoughtful arrangement. Can you feel the quiet rhythm of a life without clutter? It is a sanctuary, a private world designed for rest and connection. This domestic peace reflects the city's broader harmony, a small-scale model of the civilization's greatest ideal. The home was a haven, a carefully crafted environment for living a centered life. How did this focus on the household contribute to the society's incredible stability? The answer might lie just outside the front door, in the most ingenious network of the ancient world. The city awakens with a gentle hum, not a frantic roar. People emerge from their homes into the clean morning air, moving with a calm purpose along the straight, wide streets. There are no chariots thundering past, no merchants shouting over one another to hawk their goods. Instead, the scene is one of quiet coordination. Residents make their way to communal wells, their footsteps soft on the hard-packed earth. Listen closely, and you can almost hear the soft clatter of clay pots being lowered, the gentle splash of fresh water drawn from the depths, and the low murmur of quiet greetings exchanged between neighbors. This is not a crowd of strangers, but a community, its members connected by a shared routine. Each person contributes to the morning's rhythm, fetching water not just for their own household, but as part of a wider cooperative effort. The very air feels different, free from the tension of competition. How would your own morning feel without that underlying pressure to rush, to push past others, to claim your share before it is gone? Here, the well belongs to everyone, and its bounty is a collective right. This simple, daily act reinforces a profound truth about their society, that individual needs are met through communal harmony. The peaceful rhythm of their day is upheld by something even more fundamental, an engineering marvel flowing silently beneath their feet. Beneath the calm surface of the city, a hidden world of water and stone ensures its health. This is the unseen marvel, a labyrinth of drains and channels built with the same precision as the streets above. Crafted from those same uniform bricks, these tunnels run under the main avenues, carrying waste away from homes and public spaces with a quiet, relentless efficiency. There are no open sewers festering in the sun, no stagnant pools breeding sickness. Instead, a gentle, constant flow moves everything toward the outskirts, leaving the city clean and the air fresh. Can you recall the scent of a truly clean city after a rain, that absence of decay? This was their daily reality, an engineered environment free from the fear of plague. This network was not a luxury, it was a right, a fundamental part of the civic agreement that defined their civilization. It meant a child could play in the street without danger, and a family could sleep through the night without the intrusion of foul odors. This profound commitment to public health fostered a deep, unspoken sense of well-being and shared pride. The people knew, on some instinctive level, that they were cared for by the very design of their world. This intricate system required constant, quiet maintenance, a collective duty that fell to a unique and respected group within the society. The Great Bath rises from the city center, a vast rectangular pool of absolute stillness. Its bricks are sealed with a thick layer of tar, creating a perfect, watertight vessel that holds the sky in its mirror-like surface. This was not a place for sport or frantic play, but for something far more profound. Here, in the heart of a bustling city, was a sanctuary dedicated to ritual purification and quiet reflection. The water itself was the central character, a symbol of both spiritual and physical cleanliness that echoed the civilization's deepest values. Can you feel the profound quiet of this space, a silence so deep it seems to absorb all sound? Perhaps a lone figure, a priest or a community elder, stands at the water's edge. They perform a gentle, silent ceremony, their movements slow and deliberate, their focus inward. There are no grand pronouncements, only the sacred hush of a ritual that connects the individual to the community and the cosmos. The still water reflects not just the sky, but an ideal, a world where outer order fosters inner peace. This commitment to purity was not a solitary pursuit but a shared principle, woven into the very fabric of their daily lives, from the hidden drains below to this monumental pool above. How did such a profound reverence for order and cleanliness shape the objects they used every day? The answer lies in the artifacts they left behind, simple items that tell a story of a culture united by a common aesthetic and a quiet dignity. The city's true strength lay not in its walls but in its storehouses. Walk with me toward the granaries, these massive structures raised high on sturdy platforms of brick. Inside, the air is cool and dry, filled with the earthy scent of barley, wheat, and peas harvested from the fertile plains. Workers move with a calm, unhurried rhythm, shifting sacks of grain that are heavy with the promise of another season without want. There is no frantic scramble here, no hint of hoarding or the fear of scarcity. This surplus was managed with quiet foresight, a shared resource for the entire community. Can you comprehend the profound peace of mind that comes from knowing your next meal is secure, not just for you, but for every family around you? This food security was a silent pact, a bedrock of the society's legendary stability. It meant that a child's hunger was everyone's concern, and a failed harvest was a challenge to be met together, not a catastrophe to be endured alone. This collective safety net freed the people from the gnawing anxiety that plagued so many other ancient worlds, allowing their culture to focus on refinement rather than mere survival. The calm efficiency within these granaries echoed the orderly flow of the streets and the quiet hum of the homes, each element reinforcing a single, powerful idea that true prosperity is built on shared well-being. Within the quiet workshops, a different kind of order takes shape. A craftsperson sits in a pool of sunlight, their hands steady as they guide a sharp tool across a small, square piece of steatite stone. There is no rush, no jarring noise, only the soft, persistent scratch of the carving. Each deliberate stroke etches the figure of a powerful, solitary animal, a bull with a profound stillness in its stance. This is not an object made for war or to proclaim status, but a seal, a personal signature pressed into clay to mark ownership or a closed agreement. The act of creation itself is a form of meditation, a channeling of skill into a tangible piece of order and beauty. Nearby, another artisan's fingers move with a patient rhythm, threading tiny beads of carnelian, lapis lazuli, and gold onto a fine cord. The deep red, the brilliant blue, and the warm yellow gleam in the light, each bead a small, perfect achievement. There is no clatter of a production line, only the quiet focus of a person fully immersed in their task. Can you sense the deep satisfaction in making something beautiful and lasting, with no demand for haste? This meticulous work produced objects that were both functional and deeply artistic, a testament to a culture that valued the quality of the process as much as the final product. These artifacts were not hurried to a marketplace, but carefully crafted for use within a community that appreciated such refined skill. The peace of the city extended even here into the very act of making, where patience was the greatest tool. What kind of society fostered such unhurried artistry, and how did these beautiful objects connect its people across vast distances? Their trade was a quiet river, not a battlefield. Indus Valley merchants did not command armies to seize resources. They loaded sturdy, wide-bottomed boats with carefully crafted goods. These vessels, heavy with painted pottery, gleaming stone beads, and soft, woven cotton cloth, would glide peacefully down the great river toward the distant sea. The journey itself was a testament to their patience and planning, a slow, rhythmic passage guided by the current and the stars. Can you hear the gentle lapping of water against the hull, the creak of the wooden frame, the low murmur of the crew? This was commerce without the clamor of desperation or the threat of violence. Their trading partners in far-off Mesopotamia received not just goods, but a sense of the civilization that made them. Each perfectly drilled carnelian bead spoke of immense skill and patience. Every length of fine cotton cloth whispered of advanced agriculture and a mastery of weaving. The exchange was built on a foundation of mutual benefit and deep respect. There were no forced treaties or tribute demands, only a quiet network of long-distance connection that brought new materials and subtle ideas into the Indus cities. This flow of goods enriched their culture without ever conquering it, allowing them to absorb foreign influences on their own terms. How different this feels from the tumultuous trade empires of later ages, built on coercion and exploitation. Here, prosperity was found not in domination, but in reliable, peaceful exchange. This vast network, stretching across the known world, required a system of organization, a shared understanding that bound distant communities together without a single word of command. Perhaps the most profound silence from the Indus Valley is etched into stone. Thousands of small seals and tablets bear a written script of elegant, intricate symbols, a language that has stubbornly kept its secrets for millennia. We see a wild bull, a unicorn-like creature, or a simple geometric shape, accompanied by a short line of these beautiful, unknown characters. A scribe would press such a seal into soft clay to mark a shipment of goods or seal a storage jar, their message clear to contemporaries but utterly lost to us. There are no grand boasts of military victories here, no lists of royal decrees or threats to enemies. The content of these whispers remains locked away. This very indecipherability adds to the civilization's aura of profound peace. Their history is not shouted from towering monuments but murmured through these enigmatic tokens, inviting quiet wonder instead of demanding obedience. What stories do these symbols hold? Were they the names of merchants, prayers to forgotten deities, or simple lines of poetry? We may never know for certain, and in a way, that silence is itself a message. It tells us that some knowledge was meant for a specific community, for the practical and perhaps sacred exchanges of daily life, not for the eternal glorification of a single ruler. This quiet script feels like the ultimate expression of their worldview, where meaning was found in orderly communication and shared understanding, not in public proclamations of power. The absence of a deciphered voice allows us to project our own longing for tranquility onto them, to hear in their silence the quiet hum of a society content with its own internal order. Their spiritual world was woven into the fabric of the everyday, not proclaimed from towering temples. We find their beliefs not on grand stone tablets, but in the intimate artifacts they used and held. A small seal shows a figure seated in a pose we would now recognize as a meditative posture, legs crossed and hands resting gently on the knees. The figure is calm, centered, surrounded by animals. Many see in this a precursor to later spiritual traditions, a proto-form of a lord of creatures, a quiet archetype of harmony between humanity and the natural world. This was not a distant god demanding obedience, but a presence found in stillness and the company of beasts. Another seal depicts a single, powerful bull, its body carved with a profound sense of strength and dignity. There is no scene of sacrifice or combat, only a reverent portrait of an animal's essential power. This reverence for life force, for the generative energy of nature, seems to have been at the core of their faith. Can you sense the difference between a religion based on fear and one based on respect? Theirs was the latter, a quiet acknowledgement of the cycles of birth, growth, and renewal that sustained their agricultural world. This spirituality was deeply personal. It lived in the home where a clay figurine of a mother goddess might be placed in a small niche, a focus for household prayers for fertility and protection. There were no dogmatic proclamations carved into palace walls, only these small, personal tokens of faith. The rituals were likely simple, integrated into the daily routine, a moment of quiet reflection before a meal, a small offering of water or grain. Their entire city, with its emphasis on purity, water, and order, can be seen as a physical expression of their spiritual values. The Great Bath was not just an engineering marvel, it was a sacred space for ritual cleansing, connecting the physical act of washing with a spiritual ideal of inner clarity. This seamless integration meant that peace was not something they sought only in a temple, but something they cultivated with every clean street, every orderly home, and every respectful gesture toward the world around them. How does such a deeply integrated belief system, one that leaves no room for a tyrannical priesthood or a militaristic god, finally come to an end? The day's rhythm slows to its most essential beat as a family gathers to eat. Inside the cool, clean home, they sit together on the swept floor around a simple meal. There are warm, flat breads made from the barley and wheat of their own fields, a shared bowl of seasoned lentils, sweet dates, and perhaps a small portion of meat from a communal hunt. The food is not extravagant, but it is wholesome and complete, a direct gift from the fertile land they so carefully tended. Notice the lack of urgency in their movements. No one eats quickly to rush off to another task. Conversation flows in a gentle murmur, a quiet exchange of the day's small events and shared plans. This daily ritual of breaking bread was far more than just nourishment for the body. It was a quiet reaffirmation of their deepest social bonds, a moment where the family unit gathered to fortify its connections. Can you recall a meal where time seemed to stretch, where the simple act of sharing food felt like the most important task in the world? In that unhurried space, emotional security was woven. A child felt the stability of this predictable, comforting routine. An adult found reassurance in the familiar faces and the quiet support they offered. This was the cornerstone of their social stability, repeated in every home across the city. The peace of the wide streets and the efficiency of the granaries all culminated in this intimate, daily experience of belonging. From this foundation of emotional security, how did the Indus Valley people extend their peaceful principles even to their final farewells? The laughter of children rings through the afternoon air, a sound as pure as the clear sky above. Small clay carts with solid wheels rumble softly across the hard-packed earth of a courtyard, pushed by tiny, eager hands. A child blows into a simple terracotta whistle, its high, clear note joining the gentle hum of the city. There are no small figures burdened by heavy labor here, no signs of training for conflict. This was a society that understood the sacred space of childhood, a protected time for play, and the slow, patient learning of skills from a parent's side. Watch a young girl sitting in the shade, her small hands carefully mimicking her mother's motions as they weave a basket together. The lesson is quiet, without harsh words or urgency. It is a transfer of knowledge wrapped in the soft cloth of daily life. This simple, universal scene of carefree play is perhaps one of the civilization's most powerful legacies. It speaks of a profound societal safety, a world so stable and secure that its youngest members could simply be children. Their toys were not miniature weapons, but objects of movement and sound, encouraging creativity and joy. Can you remember a moment from your own childhood of complete, unburdened play, where the world felt safe and the afternoon seemed to stretch on forever? That feeling was not a luxury in the Indus Valley, but a common reality. This nurturing environment ensured that the next generation internalized the values of peace and cooperation from their very first steps, learning through play how to live in harmony with their world and with each other. As the sun begins its descent, casting long shadows from the orderly homes, this deep-seated sense of security extended even to their final moments, shaping a farewell as peaceful as the lives they lived. A warm, gentle breeze carried the scent of moist earth and growing things from the fields beyond the city. The climate itself was a partner in their peace, with reliable monsoon rains swelling the great river and its tributaries each year. This was not a land of harsh droughts or unpredictable fury, but of steady, life-giving cycles. The people moved in rhythm with these seasons, their entire calendar built around the sacred work of sowing, growing, and harvesting. There was a profound predictability to it all, a sustainable pattern repeated for generations. Can you feel the deep, abiding connection that comes from such a relationship with the land? Their security was not just stored in granaries, but rooted in the very soil, watered by dependable rains. This harmony with nature meant they did not live in a constant state of anxiety about their survival. They understood the language of the clouds and the soil, reading the signs for when to plant the sturdy wheat and the resilient barley. The rustle of leaves in the cultivated fields was a constant, soothing whisper, a natural music that underscored their daily lives. This reliable abundance freed their minds from the gnawing fear of hunger, allowing their culture to focus on refinement and community rather than desperate subsistence. The gentle climate was the silent, indispensable foundation upon which their entire civilization was built, a gift from the earth that they honored with every orderly street and every quiet, purposeful life. This profound absence of royal monuments echoes through their silent cities. There are no towering pyramids demanding tribute, no grand palaces looming over the common homes, no statues of a conqueror staring down from a city gate. Every other contemporary civilization shouted the names of its kings and pharaohs, carving their victories and divine rights into stone for all eternity. The Indus Valley did not. This silence is one of their most powerful statements. It suggests a society that may have been governed by a different principle entirely, perhaps by a council of respected elders or a guild of skilled administrators. Think of the quiet order of their streets and the shared resource of their granaries. Such systems point toward collective management, where decisions were made for the benefit of the whole community. Can you envision a society where your leaders were not distant, godlike figures, but your own neighbors, chosen for their wisdom and experience? This flatter social structure would have fostered a deep sense of shared responsibility. Every citizen had a stake in the city's cleanliness, its food security, and its peaceful trade. There was no single, all-powerful ruler to blame for misfortune or to credit for success. The stability of their civilization, which lasted for centuries, was likely rooted in this very consensus. It was a peace built not from the top down, but from the ground up, woven into the daily interactions and mutual agreements of its people. How did such a decentralized society coordinate the immense efforts of city building and long-distance trade without a king's command? Golden light washes over the city as the sun dips toward the horizon. The oppressive heat of the day finally releases its grip, and a comfortable coolness settles in the air, carried on a gentle breeze. People emerge from workshops and storehouses, their tasks complete, their movements now slow and unhurried. They do not retreat into isolation, but begin to gather in small groups in the shared courtyards or climb ladders to the flat rooftops. The frantic pace of the day dissolves completely. The persistent tapping of a craftsperson's tool, the rhythmic creak of the well's pulley, the distant hum of activity, all these daytime sounds gradually fade into the approaching night. In their place, a new symphony emerges, the chirping of crickets from the fields beyond, and the soft, murmuring voices of families and neighbors reuniting. Can you recall the feeling of a day's work honestly done, that deep satisfaction that allows for true rest? Here, there is no scramble for a final chore, no anxiety about what was left unfinished. The transition from day to night is a smooth, natural passage embraced by the entire community. On a rooftop, a family sits together, sharing a simple evening meal as they watch the stars begin to pierce the deepening blue. Their conversation is quiet, punctuated by comfortable silences. In a courtyard below, two neighbors speak in low tones, their words lost to the evening but their relaxed postures speaking volumes. This is the final, essential piece of their peaceful life, the conscious cultivation of rest and social connection after the day's labor. It is a ritual that reinforces their bonds without any need for formal ceremony, a quiet affirmation that life is meant to be lived together, in a rhythm as old and reliable as the setting sun itself. The city is bathed in the soft, flickering light of terracotta oil lamps. These small, handmade vessels hold a single, steady flame that pushes back the immense natural darkness just enough to create a circle of warm, intimate space. Inside a home, the family gathers within this gentle glow. There are no harsh electric lights to bleach the air or disrupt the natural rhythm of sleep. The world outside their door is a blanket of deep, silent black, broken only by the distant, friendly flicker from a neighbor's window. This profound darkness is not something to be feared but embraced. It encourages a quiet turning inward, a natural end to the day's external activities. Can you recall the deep, restorative quality of a night spent without screens or artificial brightness, where the only light is alive and dances on the walls? In this soft radiance, a parent might murmur an old story, their voice a low, soothing rhythm. Or perhaps there is no need for words at all. The family simply sits together in a comfortable silence, the shared, breathing quiet a language of its own. This nightly ritual was a form of natural medicine, a recalibration of the nervous system. The gentle flicker of the lamps, the deep silence of the sleeping city, and the security of the home all worked in concert to signal to every soul that it was time to truly, deeply rest. This conscious surrender to the night ensured that when the sun rose again, the people would wake not just rested but renewed, ready to rejoin the quiet hum of their peaceful world with clear eyes and a calm spirit. Above the sleeping city, the stars blazed with an intensity we can scarcely comprehend. Without a single speck of artificial light to compete, the Milky Way would have arched across the heavens like a river of crushed diamonds, so bright it cast soft, faint shadows on the ground. The same constellations we trace today wheeled in their silent, predictable dance, but for the Indus Valley people, they were not distant points of light. They were a living map, a celestial clock that guided the planting and the harvest. That bright star rising just before the sun might signal the coming of the vital monsoon rains. The position of the Pleiades cluster could tell them when the river would be at its most generous. Their entire existence was tied to this cosmic rhythm, and each clear night was a reminder of their intimate connection to a vast, orderly universe. Can you recall the last time you looked up and felt truly small, not insignificant, but comforted by your place in something immense and beautiful? That feeling of profound awe would have been a nightly meditation for them, a spiritual practice as natural as breathing. They likely wove stories around these patterns, seeing in the scorpion's shape a protector or in the bull's form a symbol of enduring strength. This nightly immersion in the cosmos reinforced their worldview, where harmony was not just a social ideal but a fundamental law of existence, written in the stars and mirrored in the perfect grid of their streets below. This profound peace is echoed by an absence so loud it rings across the millennia. Archaeologists have sifted through the ruins of these vast cities and found a startling lack of weapons. There are no caches of bronze swords, no stockpiles of spearheads, no depictions of soldiers marching to war. The city walls were designed to manage water, not to repel armies. For an ancient civilization, this near-total lack of militarization is almost unbelievable. Every other contemporary society, from Mesopotamia to Egypt, was defined by its armies and its conquests. Their art glorified battle, their kings boasted of slaughter, but here the silence on this subject is absolute. It paints a picture of a society that had to resolve its conflicts through other means entirely. Can you conceive of a daily life where the shadow of invasion, of raids and bloodshed simply did not exist, where you could walk from your home to the fields without a thought for your personal safety? This was their reality, the energy that other cultures poured into building fortresses and training soldiers. The Indus Valley people channeled into building better drains and crafting finer beads. This freedom from the constant, low-grade fear of violence allowed a different kind of human spirit to flourish. It created a backdrop of security so complete that their culture could focus entirely on the art of living well, on community and craftsmanship, on the quiet rhythms of a day uninterrupted by the drumbeat of war. This unique form of peace was not an accident but a conscious achievement, a choice etched into their very landscape. Their civilization did not end with a bang but with a quiet sigh. Around 1900 years before the Common Era, the great cities of the Indus Valley began a slow, deliberate process of emptying out. The straight streets saw fewer footsteps each season. The meticulous brickwork of the drains, once so carefully maintained, began to silt up with neglect. One by one, the homes were left to the elements, not in a panicked flight, but in a gradual, orderly departure. The prevailing theories point not to the sword, but to the river, the lifeblood of their civilization. The great Indus and its tributaries likely shifted its course over centuries. Or perhaps the reliable monsoon rains began to fail, slowly transforming their fertile plains into something drier, less generous. Can you envision a community watching the waters recede year after year, making quiet, collective calculations about survival? This was not a catastrophe that struck in a single lifetime, but a slow-moving challenge that unfolded over generations. There are no layers of ash, no heaps of skeletons slaughtered at the city gates. The archaeological record shows a fading, not a fracture. This suggests their peaceful end was a final, profound reflection of their peaceful existence. The people did not turn on each other in a desperate scramble for dwindling resources. Instead, they made a practical, communal decision to disperse, to follow the water and the fertile land to new homes. They carried their culture, their skills, and their values with them, scattering seeds of their civilization across the subcontinent. The silence that settled over Mohenjo-daro and Harappa was the silence of a chapter closing, not a society being erased. How does a culture so deeply rooted in harmony respond when the earth itself becomes less hospitable? It seems they chose adaptation over conflict, a quiet migration that honored the collective good until the very end. Their legacy is not carved in conquests but in the quiet hum of a well-ordered life. Long after their cities were reclaimed by the earth, the echoes of their innovations rippled through the Indian subcontinent. The concept of standardized weights, those perfectly carved cubes of chert stone, provided a foundation of trust for commerce that would underpin trade for millennia. The principles of urban planning, of wide streets and thoughtful water management, can be traced in the bones of later settlements. They proved that a civilization's true strength could be measured not by the size of its army, but by the health of its people and the fairness of its markets. Can you feel the profound influence of a society that prioritized the common good over individual glory? Their most powerful export was an idea that human beings are capable of creating a stable, prosperous world through cooperation and shared agreement. In our own era of noise and division, their silent cities offer a startling alternative. They stand as a monument to a different set of values, where artistic elegance was a common language and peaceful coexistence was the highest political achievement. The Indus Valley whispers a question across 4,000 years, challenging our own assumptions about power and progress. What if the ultimate measure of a society is not what it conquers, but the quality of peace it cultivates for all its citizens? Perhaps we can learn to build our own inner cities, modeled on their quiet blueprint. Tonight, let the straight, predictable lines of their streets become the pathways of your own mind, guiding restless thoughts into calm, orderly channels. Breathe in the memory of that clean, cool water drawn from the well, a feeling of being provided for, of a community that saw a shared resource as a sacred trust. Drift into sleep with the profound security of knowing your place in the world was valued, your basic needs met as a matter of course. This was their greatest gift to us, not a treasure of gold, but a model for tranquility. They proved that a peaceful life is not a distant dream, but a practical achievement, built one thoughtful brick, one shared agreement at a time. Let the deep, enduring silence of their cities become your own, a gentle blanket of quiet that settles over you now, soothing the noise of the modern world into a distant hum. Carry this feeling into your dreams, a quiet testament to what humanity is capable of when we choose harmony over conflict and community over self. This profound peace is not something you need to imagine, but something you can feel. The warmth from the sun-baked bricks soaks into the soles of your feet, a gentle, radiating heat that connects you to the very earth of this city. That distant, flowing river is not just a sound, but a steady, rhythmic pulse, the lifeblood of this civilization echoing the calm beat of your own heart. You draw in a slow, deep breath, and the air is startlingly clean, carrying only the faint, earthy scent of clay and the subtle perfume of evening blossoms. There is no sharp tang of smoke, no underlying hint of decay. Your lungs feel clear, your body at ease. Above you, the stars are not just points of light, but a brilliant, dense tapestry woven into a sky of deepest velvet. So close you feel you could almost reach up and trace the constellations with your fingertips. In this moment, every one of your senses confirms a single, undeniable truth. You are safe. You are not an isolated individual, but a thread woven securely into the strong fabric of a community. The world around you operates on a principle of quiet order, where every street, every home, every shared resource is designed to support your well-being. There is no looming deadline, no frantic competition for a place or a portion. The anxiety that so often tightens your chest in the modern world simply has no place to take root here. It has been designed out of existence. The only thing that remains is a deep, all-encompassing calm, a silence within that matches the peaceful hum of the city around you. This is the legacy of the Indus Valley, a tangible blueprint for tranquility that you can carry back from your journey, a quiet space to return to whenever the noise of the present becomes too loud. Breathe deeply and let the weight of our complex modern world lift from your shoulders. In your mind's eye, you are a citizen of the Indus Valley. Your day is done. Your home is secure, your neighbors are friends. There is no urgency, only the gentle transition from day to night. Allow this deep, ancient serenity to fill you, calming your heart and quieting your mind as you surrender to rest. The quality of your sleep here is as pure as the water flowing through the city's hidden channels. There are no screens to disrupt your natural rhythms, no digital alerts to jar you from slumber. Your rest is governed by the simple, profound darkness and the soft sounds of a sleeping world. The faint, rhythmic breathing of your family beside you, the distant call of a night bird, the whisper of the breeze against your home's sturdy walls, these are the only lullabies you know. This is a rest that truly restores, mending the minor weariness of a productive day and preparing you for a new dawn with a mind free of clutter. Can you remember the last time you woke up feeling genuinely refreshed without a single thought of what you had to rush off and do? In this space, that feeling is your every morning. As you drift into this deep and peaceful sleep, you are living the civilization's final, most personal achievement, a life where even in unconsciousness you are safe, you are whole, and you are at peace. And so, we leave the Indus Valley to its eternal peace, a civilization that whispers to us across the millennia about the possibility of a harmonious life. Thank you for joining this journey into tranquil antiquity. May the echoes of their peaceful existence guide you into a deep and restorative sleep. Good night, dreamers.